Hello, good evening. This is High Priestess Jamila, and I wanted to come and talk and have a conversation about marriage. Um, and this conversation is going to be very different from what you hear from a lot of other people's perspective because this conversation is not about separating man and woman. So that's what's going to be very, very different about this conversation because whenever you listen to other people's perspective of this, it's always about don't get married because the woman's going to own you. Don't get, nah, that ain't what it is. So I wanted to come and speak about that. So I am 44 years old, a mother of four children with one grandbaby and one angel baby. Um, and I had the opportunity to get married when I was with my daughter's father because he wanted to marry me. But because I was in my 20s then. So when I was in my 20s, um, I felt like my spirit guides was even guiding me back then. And so it was something about marriage licensing and, church weddings that absolutely frightened me. And it took years to figure out what it was. And then several years ago, when a lot of my programming broke, I started to realize and discover a lot, just kind of taking a step back and looking at the world and looking at how things work and even looking at people try to drive a stake through the hearts of people like me who didn't get married, and they felt that they could use that as a source of judgment, which even back then I wasn't. I don't care about what people think of me. I'm not that type of person. I'm gonna start this off with a disclaimer. If it's a man that I really, really love and he just insists on getting a marriage license and marrying me, then I would do it for the man that I love because I would never get married for any reason other than love if that's what made him feel better. However, I would try to talk him out of it. And a lot of people will say, well, why? That's stupid. If people are programmed, well, that's stupid. You stupid. Why would you try to talk him out of it? I would more so lean towards um, more of an intimate, more higher level spiritual way of connecting myself to him. I wouldn't want it to be the government marriages that we know about. And I don't have anything necessarily against the government in every sector of the government, but this is one where I have a problem with it. So, first of all, I think that looking at the history of marriage and looking at the transgression of society and why it was invented in the first place and how it has evolved, and it's ultimately to me evolved into a joke to me, honestly, because it is a joke, it's a game. So my first thought process is marriage licensing. So basically you're asking this sector of the government for permission to love somebody, and that bothers me. So I have to have your permission. So this is not about, for me at least, I'm giving my personal perspective of it. Um, it's not about the man enslaving me. It's not about that. In fact, I'm one of those people to where if I'm in love with somebody, I'm going to bound myself to you because I love you. I'm a one man woman. Okay. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Kelly. Yeah, well, uh, I guess for some, yeah, but these are my own personal perspectives of it. I don't feel that I should have to ask permission from any sector of the government to have sex. This is a problem. And even when you look over with what's happening in China remember when China had the one child rule? I don't agree with any government telling you how to love, who you should love, why you should love them, and setting that standard. They shouldn't tell me who to have sex with, how many children to have. I don't. I'm not into that kind of government control, and that's exactly the way that I see the institution of marriage. I don't feel as though. I think that some people do. Some people would get married for freedom, but then they realize that you're being enslaved. And I feel that when you sign that contract, I feel that that government controls your marriage, which is why most of them end in divorce. It's for financial reasons because the courts, and this is the one thing that, my spirits has an issue with. Thank you, Miss Laverne. Thank you. My spirits have an issue with our government trying to control love. Uh, my spirits have an issue with any level of control and dominating power and force over people. Because if you notice, like I've dealt with a lot of clients throughout the years that are going through divorces, and it just seems like the it's the devil. Oh my goodness, and it just is so hard. It's so difficult, and even the marriage is difficult to the point where you have to sit back and ask yourself, who is in control here? Who is in control of my thoughts, my emotions, my feelings? And why is it there? And see, a lot of people may say, well, you must be being paranoid, because I'm thinking, do they have control over my sexual energy? Is that what this is about? Especially when you're seeing in this day and age where people are married, but they're doing all kind of weird stuff. I'm not going to get into detail because I don't want to insult anybody. They're doing all kind of weird stuff. And why is it that as soon as the honeymoon is over, they looking at other people? Well, it seems like to me that if you are really in love with a person, I think a lot of people are discovering this, that it's better to freely love that person, because it's something about this marriage license that don't even sound right. What is this, a license for me to be a barber? Is it the same thing as that? What is this, like a real estate license? So I have to ask your permission to have an orgasm? Is that what this is? I have to ask your permission to love my husband, to kiss my husband? And then not only that, it seems like even the children become a ward of the state. And that bothers me, And so here's what I've noticed also. I've noticed that a lot of men use non-marital status as a way of shaming women, as a way of shaming people. However, listen, think about it. You are okay with marriage, and it's okay until you end up in child support court, huh? And then guess what kicks in? Because this morning when I was talking about Rihanna, I couldn't really get into what I wanted to get into. So that's why I'm breaking it down for y'all. And so you're okay with the marriage until it dissolves, which you have no control over whether or not that marriage lasts or not. You don't. That's why most of them don't last. But then when it ends, now you have a negative, toxic situation. You've got complete strangers telling you what is best for your family. And then also you have to deal with child support. So if you come out of a marriage and you're not able to pay child support, guess what other institutionalized system you could possibly go into? Child support. If you don't pay that child support, they can actually put you in jail. They can take your driver's license. Now, this is, it depends on who you marrying, and it depends on what's going on, because a person that has that kind of power over you is possibly going to use that corrupt system against you. So, for example, if you're married and you divorce, and the person, uh, uh, you decide that it, you want a divorce, and then the other person can say, well, I'm upset because I don't want to get divorced, so I'm going to make your life a living hell and sue you for child support, then also make things difficult for you, and then you're gonna ultimately end up in jail if you don't pay that child support. And this can go on both sides. I remember when Holly Berry got divorced, she was paying palimony and child support, I think. Yeah, 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 yeah. And so maybe I'm a Moor. I don't know. Maybe that's why I feel this way. I just it just seems like the same. And as I sit back and I look at people, for example, um, Megan Good and her husband, them filing for a divorce, and then them out in social media discussing the intimate details of their divorce, and them discussing their sex life and stuff like that. It just, I feel that marriage creates nothing but misery. Those kinds of marriages, because you're giving those people permission to control you. You're giving those people, you're a sacrifice, basically. You're a sacrifice. At any moment when they want to cash in on you, they can do it. And you know what? Most people in this world are not privy to this information or this message. Because they're under mind control, they are being controlled, almost like lab rats. So this means that you can be controlled by any system. They even determine the day that you die. They determine the day that your children are born. They just kind of run your whole mind, body, and spirit. And why would you want to be up under that? And then, yeah, I'd rather live my life sovereign and free of that. And what can they do? They can't do anything about it. And for me, I feel like this. I mean, a person, it's very morbid. Oh, well, we want to get married so that in case this person dies, I'll be taken care of. But if a person is going to take care of you, you don't need a marital contract to do that. I mean, come on now, do you? Like right now, if somebody were to pass away, knock on wood, because I'm not trying to wish that on anybody that's watching this or witnessing this conversation, but you can leave whatever you want to whoever you want. You don't have to be married to do that. Getting married can be fairly easy, but it's getting out of it, because eventually you are going to want to get out of it. Most people do. Like over half of people do, because it may not even be the relationship within itself, even though it can be, but it's what governs over you. They control you. And that's the problem with that. That's the issue that I have. Yeah. 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 And yeah, that's true. That's true. And so, like I said, The government does good things for people. They do, but this level of control that they want, and I think that sometimes I think that sometimes so I don't believe that the government is mad at me for even talking about this aspect of it. But I think that it's everybody else's collective consciousness that keeps us in this enslavement, especially when it comes to money. Especially when it comes to money. When it comes to money, you know, there's a lot of people that just don't understand or get the frequency of money. And there's so many people that are scared. There's so many people that are blocked. They don't understand what is that path. And a lot of people think that marriage is the path to financial freedom, and it's not. It's actually enslavement. I see people that are single that do better financially than married people put together. And is that those people's fault? Is it the married people's fault? Well, it is their fault because they refuse to open up their eyes and see what's going on in the world. Now, of course, once I, gain what I want, if a man just insists on it, well, I don't feel good about this unless I got this contract. If I love him enough, I'll do it. But I'd rather jump the broom. I'd rather hand fast. I would. I'd rather I don't want, in fact, I'm not gonna sign a marriage certificate at all because I don't need those people's permission to do anything. So and if you are going to accept one thing, you got to accept it all. You have a lot of men saying, "Oh, well, this woman didn't get married and she's crap," and or this man, or he's irresponsible, this isn't that. But then they don't want to accept everything else. See, if you're going to accept one thing, you got to accept everything else that's under that umbrella, which is what? Child support. Okay. And the risks that go into that. Now, of course, when it comes to child support, as a person that is sovereign, if I were ordered by a court to pay 1,000 in child support, I would get it. I would get it easily. In fact, that's easy. That's more easier. I know that that's not proper English, but that's easier than sitting up here dealing with a bunch of kids. Y'all, and I loved every moment of it. Sometimes my kids, they would have me because I was young. I was in my 20s when I had my older children. I'd be in the bathroom just sliding down the wall like, oh, these kids, and so I got through it, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really know how to control my own household back then. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to set the tone for the energy that was in my house, because there's a lot of other things to consider. And so this is the reason why it's not valuable to me. Now, it's not to say that I don't respect the instant. Like if people are married, they're married. I respect that. In fact, I don't mess around with married people like that. You know what I'm saying? But for my own personal value system, it's not something that is going to make me feel better about myself as a person. I would feel just as fine in a common law marriage with a man. I would feel just as good about it. I wouldn't even think about it. It's not going to burn through my soul every single day. I'm not going to feel as though I'm living in sin because of that, because marriage certificates were created by man, okay? And it's predicated upon by a man-made religion. See, I'm not a religious person. And then we can see all the pitfalls of religion. People, they see it, but they know it's there, but why do they still go along with it? because it is such a strong system of programming, and that system can do whatever it wants to do to you when you believe in it. And so this is one of the reasons why religion has and always will be demonized, and especially when you have people out there actively and spirits out there actively advocating this system, and the system is worse than having freedom. It is. It's worse because you'll be just fine. You'll be chilling, feeling good. And then all of a sudden, that systematic program will sweep through. And then all of a sudden, you don't feel good. Your body hurts. Your head hurts. You feeling scared or something. You don't even know that it's there. Now you got COVID, and you confused, and your neck hurt, your back hurt. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, and people like me was under attack for so long, and it's so, like, it is crazy. It is crazy. And you know what? If you on that side, you on the wrong side, because that side ain't gonna win. It's not to say that if you're married, something bad gonna happen. I'm not saying that. But if that is your foundation, then you got a real shaky foundation. You do. You got a shaky foundation, because all of it is bull crap. All of it. It's a made up world that was created for you that completely disconnects you from nature within itself. And so, I've had clients that came to me and the marriage was bad and they got divorced, but then it got better after they got divorced. Like, what does that even mean? What it means is that you're not in control. You are saying, I need your permission to get married. And that's just what it is. And see, that's one of the reasons why I kind of didn't understand why gay people was fighting for rights to get married. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of like, well, you're gay, so then what's the, do you understand what marriage is actually about? But and I'm not questioning them, but when you look at me being heterosexual, I don't want to get married. It's a cesspool of lower level demonic entities that are controlling your every single day. Now, let me tell y'all this. There are some people that contend better with schedules. That's why there are people that get up every day at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. They go to work. I appreciate those people. I have no issue with those people. Those people are clients. I'm a witch. Okay. So for me, I'm always in spirit. And, God only knows what spirit is going to do. Just like tonight, I slept all day today. So I already know that it's work that it's certain workings that spirit is going to be doing through me tonight. And so I'll be up well past the witching hour tonight. And that's for a purpose. We all have our purpose. So I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody. No, it's not about better. It's about purpose. It's about what is fate for that person. And so for me, what is fate for me is, because I'm very flexible on my schedule. My schedule changes. And, I'll be working the graveyard shift tonight. And so I feel that if you are a person that wants to get married and you do get married, just consider that you are working against a system. And I believe that this is the so-called machine that they're talking about. And it's not even creating, first of all, in the marital vows, where it says, if anyone, contests this marriage, stand up now or forever hold your peace. I wouldn't want that in my marital vows. If I'm marrying somebody, I don't give a damn what nobody thinks about it. You can just go to wherever you're going. But it's such a it's so sad the way that these systems and these programs, almost like software, controls people. And that's why they hate people like me. They actually hate me. And it's like, well, why do you hate me? Is it because I have a better understanding of what is happening? And this has nothing to do with whether or not I could have got married. Jacob's father asked me to marry him. I don't, he said I should have, but he actually we used to talk a lot. He lived in Kansas, not Canada. We used to talk a lot about this, and I think that if you make that decision to do that, you have to consider what you are signing up for. And it's not about separating man and woman. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Because a lot of people will say, oh, well, you're giving this woman power over you, or you giving this man power over you. Well, we all got power over each other because we all need each other. We all need and want each other, don't we? Okay. Man needs woman, woman needs man. It is what it is. Okay. And okay, let me put this like this so that I can be more open-minded. The divine masculine and the divine feminine. You're usually going to have a masculine and a feminine dynamic in a relationship, right? So yeah, yeah. I don't have like a set schedule. I don't. And you know, it, it's because the kind of work that I do. Sometimes I'll go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, but then sometimes I'll be up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Especially if you're a natural born witch, start working against your nature. With some people, it is in their nature to go to bed at 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night and be sleeping until 4 or 5 in the morning. I know that I like that schedule, but if I do that schedule, it's going to change. There's going to be fluctuations. It doesn't mean that it's anything wrong. Same thing with the whole thing to where, and I don't know what this obsession was with conformity. Everybody conformed to the same rules. And it's very stressful trying to do that. The more and more that you try to control spirit, the more miserable you're going to be. For example, if you somebody that's up, okay, let's talk about insomnia. I don't even like to use that word. Okay, now true insomnia is when you can't sleep. That's when you can't sleep for days and days at a time. But sometimes when spirit got you up at the witching hour, it's a reason for that. You fighting it is the problem. You being upset about it is the problem. That's going to create more stress than you just listening to what spirit is saying to you. What is spirit trying to say to you? Why does spirit have you up? Now, sometimes when I'm up late, I'll be doing the dishes. I'll be cleaning up the house. I'll be saging my house. That's what you should be doing. But a lot of people, they'll be up, they'll be conflicted, they'll have these cognitive dissonances to where they're not understanding what's wrong with me. Why can't I just conform? Because you're not meant to conform. Why are you sending yourself through all of this misery so that you can conform to something that is not meant for you to conform to? You know what I'm saying? And it just, when I see my people going through that, which is not just Black people, all of us, all races, because I am my people, the Briscoes, they are mixed with Irish, white Irish, Japanese, African, um, and what's the other one? Native American. And so, because I look at both sides of the family, my mother and my father. And all of this that I mentioned is on my mother's side of the family because I know who my mother is, you know. But, you know, because, you know, they say, anyway, I ain't even going to go there. But it's, you know, when I see people struggling with that, and when I see this struggle to get, this is what's creating this sickness. In fact, that's what the zombie apocalypse is about. It's about conformity and mind control and how people are losing their minds and because of it. And instead of just free your mind from that enslavement is what I always tell people, especially my people, my witchy people. You know, get you a oracle deck. If you up late, figure out what's going on. You know, throw the cards. You know, uh, say what's going on. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this way? And it'll give you a clearer perspective of it. Okay. But see, a lot of people, I want to be normal. I want to fit in. So you want to be a robot? That's what you want? You want to be a robot? You want to be a slave? And it's a problem because a lot of them want everybody to conform. And I didn't have any kind of financial gain until I stepped out of that conformity. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Now, you may be a different person. You know, that's just like there would be no way that that mentally, spiritually, like where I'm at spiritually, as far as being a witch, there would be no way I'd be able to get up every day and drive to work. Not gonna do it, you know. So, you know, that is, and nature loves me. Even though they're gonna gift me a car this year. I had to pay back some karma because, you know, I've had some cars that, you know, nature doesn't really like all this smog and pollution, right? And so I don't want to contribute to that either. I don't want to contribute to that. The less people contribute, the better it is. And so, you know, and it got better when people started staying at home and people was like, oh, I got to get out of this house. Well, what's the point of you having a house? That's all you want to do is get out of the house. You have a house, but you hate it there. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble, but getting back on, as far as with marriage licensing, it just don't feel right. You know, it don't. It's and I'll never do it for me personally. Yeah, you know, and it's nothing wrong with that. You know, sometimes that is the witching hour. And a lot of people look at it as evil. No, the evil is the confusion and, you know, not understanding what is going on, and then the anxiety surrounding that. Oh, something's wrong with me, something's wrong, what's going on? And, you know, it's a lot of people are pretty spooked behind that. So yeah. Yeah, I don't need the government's permission to love somebody. That's not their business. That ain't their business who I love. Not that sector of the government. That sector of the government is being abolished completely. It is. It's gonna have to be. You know, it's going to that type of slavery is gonna have to be abolished. Because, you know, the whole pandemic that we have is a manifestation of all of this too. So this is the reason why everybody's heads and hearts are being affected. And then other systems that I'm not going to get into. You either gonna have freedom or not. One or the other. It's your choice. Um, it's completely your choice. I choose to have freedom. That way they don't determine, everything. I want control over my sexual energy. I want control. And you know what? I may even give my husband, my mate, control over my sexual energy. Not some old fuddy duddy in a with a gray wig. You know what I'm saying? Remember when the forefathers, they wore those curly gray wigs? I don't want him. I mean, I like Benjamin Franklin. He's on the dollar bill, but I don't want him controlling my sexual energy. I don't want him controlling how I feel. I don't want him controlling my health or my money. I don't want him doing that. I want Benjamin Franklin to come to me. I want Benjamin's. I want Benjamin's. He's on the $100 bill. I'm sorry. I want Benjamin's, but and God tells me, Spirit tells me that that is my personal right, and it just is what it is. It's your birthright. And really, to be honest with you, I feel that when it comes to individual people, nobody necessarily owes you anything, but the world and this abundant, fertile, fruitful earth is what is ready to pay you. Like, we're thinking completely outside of the box. When our parents used to tell us, "Oh, well, I can't afford to get you a Nintendo." Back when I was younger, it was a Nintendo. What you think, money grows on trees? And that's an oxymoron, because money actually does grow on trees. So everything that they taught you was for enslavement. But think about all of the people that rose above that, and think about what they are earning and what they are getting. Okay. I had to do this financial class, and even though, I had to take this class, and it was totally outside of my belief system. It was totally outside of my belief system. And what I have seen that has been true about money and finances, but I don't even discuss that publicly because it's very triggering. But I will tell you this, that the more money you spend, the more money you make. People don't like they couldn't even fathom that. But you thinking, "Ooh, I got to," and you know what? I'm gonna have money in savings soon. You know what I'm saying? I have money in savings now. But to think, "Oh, you know, I'm scared to do this or to do that because something's going to happen." This is what is sabotaging you financially anyway. Mhm. Right. Right, exactly. And they really don't understand witchcraft when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? That is something that they're not understanding. And when you got people that are enslaved in their minds teaching people, then that's when that it's like a virus. It literally is. It's like a parasite. That's exactly what it is. That's just like the money I spent. Let me give you an example. The money that I spent on in bulk, I'm going to see a huge return on that money. I'm going to see a huge return. I already did. Just investing in the goddess Bridget, and people are like, "I want to prove that you're wrong, so I'm going to try to stop you." Well, I hate to tell you this and be the bearer of bad news, but what I'm saying is correct, and what you're doing is incorrect, and you're going to learn that. They're going to always learn that lesson. For example, everybody knows my future plans. Everybody knows that I have a plan. Everybody knows that I'm doing a lot of financial planning. And it's not something that I have to be afraid to talk about, because we have to talk about these things, because I'm getting in that lake house. When they see me in that lake house, I'm going to prove once again that what I'm saying is correct. And what are they going to say to me? Thank you, Laverne Cheesecakes. We're gonna have some fun in that lake house, though. You know, and I'm gonna do a house tour. And like with this house, I didn't really do a proper tour because I didn't have new furniture and all of that. But you know, it's you know, but they do want you to be that way because they get more sacrifice. It's just like when men go crazy, they just flip out, lose it. Oh, I'm gonna, you know, murder my whole family. This is too much pressure. I can't do this. I can't do this. Or when women do it, you know, when women get to giving their kids away, you know, that's a sacrifice. And people have got to understand that. But see, that's one of the reasons why only a few of you are going to be lucky enough to even hear this discussion, because they not going to let everybody see that. Like most people, like after a while, they're going to open it up to more people. But the problem is that it's these deals that people be making. And so if you're lucky enough, you're going to hear what I'm saying and you're going to understand it. Like for example, when I moved out, when I became free from the chains of the housing crisis, and I was in a hotel, and you know, and that hotel experience was pretty amazing. I felt like I was on a long-term vacation. You know, even though I was in this small room, it felt like freedom. It was huge. It was, and we never slept outside. I had built myself up to the, and not built myself up, but I had freed myself to the point where, you know, it was, you know, I always was, and you had the people that want to enslave you. You know what I'm saying? That you had them, you know, and these are, to me, they're not powerful agents of that, because I feel that more so the hierarchy protects me. You know, the higher energies protect me. I do. And they reward me, you know, and so I went through a tremendously hard time last year. You know, when my mother passed away, that was horrifying. Still healing from that experience. You know, and you know, getting back, y'all got to look at this year. When you multiply 2022, you got three twos. When you multiply that, you got 666. So we actually living in the year 6066. And people will say, oh, 666 is bad, that's the devil. Oh, huh? No, that's like, y'all not it's so weird when it comes to numbers and numerology, how people fail to realize um, the vibrations and the energies of numbers. So when you look at this year, this is 666, you know, 666. And so this is an extremely powerful year, but you got people that they are afraid of that power. And I totally understand, because I'm gonna tell you something. The other day, I'm sorry, on the first, what I was feeling was that, ooh, it was coming down, it was coming down, it was raining down. And it feels like a shift, an energy shift. Like I described it as when you're breastfeeding, how when your baby starts to nurse your breast, you can feel that let down. You can feel it. Anybody in here ever breastfed? Ooh, you can feel that let down when that milk come down. And yeah, and so it felt like that. And so it's the same thing when it comes to manifestation, especially when it comes to money manifestation. But once you start getting used to that money manifestation that is effortless, then you start to get the swing of things. Whenever you go back or you revert back to conformity and rules and being in that box, that's when you kind of feel like, you know. But when the energy is flowing, to you. And that's why there's so many people that are manifestation powerhouses, and they're either choosing at the moment to be single or alone because you may not, the person that you may want to be with, or either you haven't found somebody that's equally yoked with you that's on that same frequency. So it can be very different. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And like I said, a lot of people there, you can even tell that the world is, and so when I come on here and I try to let people know, well, you're gonna need those minerals, Epsom salt, which is magnesium. You're gonna need those minerals, you're gonna need those herbs. So the other night when I took a bath for in bulk, you could feel that other energy struggling to take over. But then what ultimately took over was non-fear. And I love tradition and I love family values. I do. But I just, when it comes to me being in love, I would never allow a marriage license or a certificate to ruin that. That's so weird. That love and sex and man and woman being together is way too sacred for me to do that. And then as well as with childbirth, uh, I don't want to give birth in a hospital. I want to give birth at home. And it's so much. Oh my God, it is so much. It is, but when you got people that are surrounding you that are afraid, then their energy and vibration. That's why I said, you know, keep this stuff, certain stuff you don't discuss. And that's one of them, because people, especially people that are closest to you, you know what I'm saying? So it's really, it's really a very deep thing. It is, and it's so difficult to break that programming. Mhm. Yeah. Hey, Thursday Lane, hello. Sweet potato french fry eyes, you are funny. Mm. Yeah. So anyway, that's my personal belief system. Um, and eventually I can marry people now. I believe that spirit is giving me the because I've done so many love reunions and love spells for people that work. And so, I think that the different systems, because but I feel that it's my beliefs are mainly set in nature. And nature ain't always kind. It's not. It ain't always kind. But it's, to me, it's better than that, because that's almost like a ploy or something, like so that's one of the reasons why I would never get married or sign a marriage certificate. Um, you know what I'm saying? Okay, guys, I'm gonna let y'all go to sleep. Those of y'all that gotta get up and go to work in the morning, I'm gonna let y'all go to sleep. Y'all have a good night. And if you have not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. Um, and I'll see you guys later. Okay. Final message. Stop trying to force your belief systems that you are miserable in. See, people that force their belief systems on people are typically the ones that are miserable, and they trying to like pass a curse to you, like no, like I'm about to be fishing at the lake and breathing in fresh air very soon. I don't want to conform to any of that, and I don't have to. So these people that want to force their beliefs on you, it is so horrifying, and it leads you to other paths. Like they're actually leading that path, which is okay, but it's uncomfortable. It just it give you that uneasy, uncomfortable feeling. I like so hopefully, so here's the energy I want to send out to y'all. Y'all gonna get up in the morning, you gonna float through the day, and it's all is that 8 hours or 10 hours that you got to do tomorrow gonna be easier. Okay. Peace and hair grease to you too, reincarnation to elevation. Love you too, Miss Laverne. Love you guys. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.